Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Here we are. New sheet metal on the back of a 68 Nova. Yeah, I'm going to give you some tips, some tricks, some ways to make things go faster, and pitfalls not to drop off into in this video. So yeah, grab a cold beverage and let's get to work. It looks pretty good, but I think I'm feeling a lot of body filler up underneath that edge. These doors, they look okay, but when you got a rust hole all the way up here, probably got some other problems in the door. And the customer wants a really nice street car. It's a 68 Nova, or Chevy 2. The last year they called them that, I'm told. I just kind of bolted the hinges and the doors on. I mean, I've been working on it for a minute, and I'm sorry I didn't turn the camera on. So have to walk around it, let you guys check it out. The subframe's all kind of painted black already. The fenders are done, yeah. So, yeah, we just kind of look around. I'm assuming everything that's primed white was done by a certain individual who didn't finish the car. But they did start, and that's something, I guess. So, with a little more light, it makes it a little bit easier to see what we got going. I took the full outer wheelhouse off back to the spot weld flange. And let me tell you, there's a spot weld every 3/4 of an inch. But when you get up here, your wheelhouse tucks up underneath everything. And I really don't want to separate all that flange. See, I got the same thing here. I even ripped a couple of holes in the lip with my air chisel, just trying to rip it off there quick. It's got a little more than the outer wheelhouse will cover rust-wise. This corner is going to take some more repair. The little trunk drop off there, bottom corner of it's missing, but the rest of it's solid. So I'm just going to patch that. I'm going to patch that inner wheelhouse there because it should continue on down here. And we'll just make the part fit the new one that we put in there. Here I've got to cut my new part so I can make like a little light lap joint in here, and then we'll go back to that full flange. But when you get down to the rocker, that outer wheelhouse jumps over and makes a big piece right here. You can see the edges of it down there. And I'm going to have to trim all that out, clean it up, get it ready, and then all this old undercoating in here has got to come off. And I've cut the quarter. I just cut it right at the edges just to get the big bulk of it out of the way. You have to be careful when you're cutting these things apart, because right back here, that little trunk gutter is kind of a special little piece to have to come up with. You can see it's there. It braces down to the trunk floor, and then here's more holes. Here we are back at the beginning pretty much of a project. I mean, the only thing I did before we started this was I pulled the back bumper off and pulled the tail lights out. I took the back glass out of it, and I still haven't taken the wheels off and put it on jack stands, but that's my next thing to have to do to get into that rocker area. There's why they rust out. That rocker panel is completely full of just super silty kind of material. I can't even see to finish cutting the spot welds out down here because it just keeps rolling out of there. So I'm going to get the shop back out and we'll suck that stuff out. All right, so got the 4.5 inch wire wheel on the grinder there, and it's kind of how I clean these up. It's irritating and loud, so I didn't have it running for you guys, but it helps us to make sure none of this metal's thin. Like down here, we got to put a little patch in. Yeah, so we've got to replace our B-pillar section of the quarter. Since it wraps inside of there, we're going to have to drill out a bunch of spot welds. You can see from the back side the reinforcement. That's kind of why I cut the quarter off the way I do, so you're able to see both sides of everything. All right, guys, when you buy your restoration sheet metal, see if you can get it with the GM Restoration Parts label on it. There is a difference. This wheelhouse is still made in Taiwan, right? Got the barcode, all that, but it's not quite the same. It's a little bit lighter gauge metal, and this flange, you see where the red line is there, I had to cut that and fold it to get this thing to fit the way the original did. That's outside of the trimming that I've got to do up here to make it work. The stamping, I mean, it looks identical other than on that front side of the AMD part. You see it's got a little flap there. Well, that's the way the original would have been. You got a hole. There's a hole right there. I don't know that this one's in the exact spot, but it's a little heavier metal, a little nicer part. And this is just a wheelhouse, okay? They make these thin quarters, thin deck lids, all that, and they're cheap, so that makes them attractive to us, right? We all shop for price. But when you're putting that car back together, that thin metal, it sucks to work. Okay, so you can see after the mass trim, this is what you're left with. This is before I've ground or straightened or done anything. And there's a really thin spot right here. May require a patch put in here. No big deal. The rest of the rockers are pretty solid. So yeah, and this is all just surface rust, because when these cars were made, they didn't get dipped or anything, they got sprayed. So none of the interior cavities got any kind of corrosion protection. Oh well, hey, you guys are still there. Well, it's doing a lot better than you did in the last video. So hey, just stick with it. We're gonna get somewhere on this thing, I promise. Let me get this clamp on and we'll check out what we got here. So, I think we're really close. Stuff fits. I did have to come in and I just put a slot in that flange so my piece would slide up in there more easily. And then we'll trim the underside and do all that work, you know, just have a nice little tight flange there. I probably need to put a clamp right here to pull that in there good. I mean, but it's fitting up like a champ, dude. It's just thin. Yeah, the back here, I will end up, this needs to be pulled out a little bit. I did notice that getting it all separated, I kind of bent it some, and I haven't straightened any of these flanges. And then we've got this little corner we've got to build, and this actually should line up with that edge somewhat, you know, in a believable fashion. So that's telling me we need to rotate this thing just a hair. That'll put this little indention more where the quarter sits in there for our rocker. Yeah. All right, so she's fitting up pretty good. Not quite there yet, but it's very, very close. You can see, got a little bit of gap, but not bad. This all cuts out as a hole there for a drain or clean out or something. Nobody ever does that, right? Anyway, we're gonna get it final fitted and stitch this dude in there with the MIG, and then we're gonna build this little corner section here that is the inner wheelhouse lip. All right, want to take a little time to give a shout out to Buff from Buff's Garage. He bought this roll of MIG wire. So Tommy's Nova, meet Buff's Garage. Yeah, we're gonna start using this. Got to put a new spool of wire on and some CO2 in the tank. Buff came out, we did the Falkenstein car. You guys should check that thing out. It's pretty cool what he's done with it. All right, so I do have that little corner piece is tacked in there now. I went ahead and I set the outer wheelhouse up on here. I drilled holes to later go back and enlarge for plug welds. I did it up here, and I'll use that row of holes to determine where I'm gonna cut my wheelhouse once I take it off. I'll take it off and drill these holes out and kind of show you my thoughts there on making stuff where I don't have to take this off any more times than necessary. All right, so we do start out with the old template. Fit it up in there for a little piece of metal, transfer it to some metal. Still using OBS metal from the green truck here for patch panels. And got to do a little cutting and dotted line for a bend. Make it curve with the little shrinker stretcher. And yeah, it's just rinse and repeat constantly here, trying to rebuild, get it where we can put the quarter on it. Just keeping you guys in the loop. All right, so we cut everything out on the Beverly shear, move over here to the stretcher, and this thing needs a little bit of a curvature to fit in and look right over there. So this thing's super easy to use after we modified her. And I don't want to curve it too much, but you can see that thing move, right? Every time I hit it just a little bit. Yeah, I mean, between that, this and you know, something to bend the metal on, I'm just like using it's a big piece of steel. It's like 2-inch thick hardened metal, but it's got a nice curve for the other part of the wheel well. All right, so see, spot welds, cut line, just a guesstimate though, that was going into this thing. And you know, I haven't cut anything or moved stuff around much yet. Yeah, this piece is looking good. Heck yeah, bud. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty decent. So hey, we're gonna just weld that puppy in there. I can straighten that flange out. It'll all be good. All be good in the neighborhood. We'll have that corner done. I've got to put some weld through primer inside of this before I get too much further, or like I like to use, cold galvanizing compound. I just call it weld through primer because it looks the same to you guys. Oh, yeah. Well, all right. After a little bit of work, we got our outer wheelhouse on here. Here comes from the tractor store or Atwoods or whatever you've got. I've put this on bare metal and left it sitting outside with just this on there out in the elements, and it lasts a really long time. So something is better than nothing in my book. Gotta come in, there's one spot weld inside of here I've got to drill out. I've got to strip the paint off this area, find out where our lead is and everything, and kind of determine, am I going to go up the full cell panel or do the old body shop thing and just section it in below that seam and stay out of it. Get in here, we're going to have to rebuild part of our flange here. I already know that. This panel's going in brand new. It is actually on top of the quarter panel. All right, so there's the windowed out rough cut of that panel. I'm still kind of debating whether I want to leave the tail light panel in it and do my preliminary fit on this quarter first. Going to be tight down in there. Well, there you go. Like, sprayed this. It seems like you get things cut apart pretty quick, but then there's a lot of cleanup involved, of course. Did weld this in where that was so rusty. Got our new panel up here, new tail light panel for the back of it, but this is our focus right now. Next thing I've got to do is wait for this crap to dry for a while, and then we'll start popping holes in this for our plug welds and get that piece, this piece fitted in. We are on both sides going to have to add a little strip of metal here to connect this to the underside of that part, but it's easy enough to weld and do all that when the quarter panel's off there. Well, I said, yeah, it is looking like it's quarter panel day to day. And yeah, I'm not cutting the tail light panel out. I think it's a good idea to have something to establish that height. Yeah, we'll end up having to put our new deck lid on and fit it as well. So that's kind of where we're headed. All right, it's fixing to go down. We're going to melt some lead out of some seams right now. Yeah, got the torch out. I bet you guys wouldn't believe it takes all dang. All right, after a little persuading, I mean, that's no striker, that's just where the door sits, so pretty decent gap. I was amazed. It took a lot of wrestling to get it there. I just kind of go off of the lines where the original quarter was, put 3 screws in this just to hold it all in place, made sure our striker, it's pretty well right where it needs to go, and then
This gap down here is super tight. I did put a piece of metal in between my clamp and this because there's a little force there and I don't want to dent it. Trimmed the sail panel, got rid of the overlap part off of it. We'll do something up here, probably like a Fitzy cut and butt kind of deal. I would like to get rid of that, but we'll see. Then, yeah, all morning drilling a few holes. I got to pull this quarter back off. Before I do that, I've got to make the inner wheelhouse fit up nice. Everything fits good except for our back corner where we built our little replacement. We got to do just a little bit of cutting and pushing in there to get that to line up. Then we'll mark where all the plug weld holes have to go on the quarter. All right, so you can see in here my little red dots. That's my spot weld drill marks. Yeah, a lot of drilling getting ready to happen. We're gonna pop the quarter off so that we can drill all those holes. I mean, this thing is like super tight trying to get it on there. So you don't want to have to take it on and off any more times than we have to. I've got the sail panel scribed. I mean, theoretically, when this goes back on the next time, it is going to be good to go, ready to weld. This stuff, I'm going to go ahead and cut this tail light panel off, rear body panel, whatever you want to call it, because yeah, it needs to be out of the way really, and we need to get this patched up too, make sure we don't need to order more parts. Getting close to the 4th of July, and I'm going to be gone for a couple weeks on vacation, so well, yeah, a lot of smoking going on now, buddy. Oh yeah, get her all cleaned up. Wow, I just shook this can for like ever and it's clogged up. All right, my can was clogged up there for a second, but we got her spraying like mad again now. So I'm just using this cold galvanizing spray right in here on all these weld zone areas. In the collision business, we'd call it hot spots for corrosion. Yeah. Get everything in there we can. The inside of the trunk will get coated with something else, but this stuff out here, it'd be cool if it had a little bit of good on it. Yeah. Hope you guys are having a good day. It's hot around here right now.
we go. Extra rust even after we got done. We knew that was there though. You knew it was coming. More of it. Just catching the bare metal where I've welded, where I know stuff's going to be covered up when the next panel goes on. The only problem with this cold galvanizing stuff is it takes so long to dry. So I'm putting this on here now. We got to go finish prepping the quarter to go on. And then we should be in pretty good shape on the old thing. All right, so here we are back again. More of this good stuff. Just try to get it in those mounting flange areas. There you go. That cold galvanizing stuff, it's got zinc in it. It doesn't show up on camera, but it almost looks like really, really fine aluminum metallic, but it's actually zinc particles. And if you guys don't know, zinc is what makes stuff corrosion resistant for a long time. I just put it on the back sides of everything where I'm not going to be able to get paint later. It's kind of same old, we're just doing her again. Yep, take us about an hour to dry, so try to do that while I'm waiting on other things in here. I'm able to do stuff like right here, we're changing the oil in the lawnmower. All right, so this will look the same on camera, but this is actually self-etching primer from the tractor store or farm supply. Self-etch will sand, guys. That's galvanizing compound. That stuff does not sand. And I want something on here just to protect that much. All right, the best way, get it hung on there somehow first, so it ain't gonna fall on the floor. Yeah. I think it's going to be a little bit of a fight, guys. I'm almost positive it is, as a matter of fact. Like that back there. I got it hung up before I even knew what was going on. There we go. Put that. Push that in. Come around and you got to go. Oh! Too far. All right, so another morning with the Nova. Yep, we are out here this morning, and I'm gonna take you guys along as I do a process I call windowing. All right, we're gonna cut this quarter panel skin off, and we are going way up here. We're gonna cut right along this edge, and then since I've already cut the rear loose, we're just going to cut around these areas where spot welds are. Basically, I just cut the outer panel off, leave a small strip of metal, and then we'll grind through the flange edge to expose the spot welds, thin them out, and then I just air chisel it off, guys. Tons of different ways you can do this. A lot of guys will drill every spot weld. That's great. Do it. I grew up working in the collision repair world and doing things on commission, so time really does mean something there, and the least energy expended usually gets you, done faster and you make more money by doing that. This isn't about making money, it's just doing what I feel comfortable with, and I don't mind drilling out a few spot welds, but I don't want to drill out 1,600 of them, which we would have done had we drilled every single one of these things. So I did put the new deck lid on there. Haven't really spent any time aligning it. It's actually still loose. So yeah, it will fit the car though. Lines will come out good. Replaced it because this one, the bottom edge is rusty. Now, you can use air-powered tools. I like the old DeWalt 4.5-inch Harbor Freight Hercules. They're 16th inch wide, the thin cut-off wheels. They come 10 to a package. That's what I prefer to use. All right, so there we cut all around the edges. You can see I stayed in a little bit from that edge. Around here, there's a brace that's underneath this. And up here, I know I'll start getting into lead pretty soon. Yeah, and I just slit this along the back side. This was all cut out already. This was all cut out already, and it's just around the perimeter. And then, I mean, you shouldn't have crazy amount of trouble getting her off there. Oh, it looks like Pole Barn Garage has been here. I see foam and lots of Bondo tucking. This is why we do this. All right, there you go. Found us some Protection Plus hospital policy, just in case we get jacked up down here working on her. Comes pre-approved with insurance. Yeah, so all I've been doing is making a big mess down here in the floor. I like to keep it where I can have the shop vac close. I mean, you sweep this up 30 times, but it's better to sweep it 30 times than just let it pile up there. I just ripped this stuff all out real fast with the air chisel, and most everything's ground thin on it. These spot welds here, they're hard to find, so I just cut them off with the air chisel, because you know, it's like a samurai sword for a paint and body guy. Katana. You got to have a good one. Yeah, I like the long barrel version. I mean, this one is made by probably Ingersoll Rand for Snap-on. It's a Blue Point. I like this kind of bit because it grabs around the edge and you can work it. It's not real narrow and it's pretty thin, so it doesn't distort the metal too much. Always funny what you find in these old cars as you're going through doing the processes. So here we are. This is just a morning's worth of work here. Took off this whole quarter in one big piece using the window method, I'll call it. I'm just opening her up quick with a cutoff wheel. And I came in with a combination of belt grinder, flap disc, and an air chisel, and we took off all of the edges. Didn't really rip anything apart bad. These wheel houses are a pain. That's solid spot weld there, and then it didn't hardly have anything holding it up here where the other side of that opening is like, that's solid spot welds down through there. You can see how many there are here. All we got to do is just grind that metal off. It's not too bad. Rip this off real quick with the air chisel up here. That flange is super thin. We just have to air chisel it out of the way. These spot welds are kind of hard to find in here, so I just air chiseled. I did grind this edge thin and then just kind of folded stuff back. Yeah, it's a real mess. You can see tons of stuff laying around. So I feel like this is going to be a really long video, and I want to give you guys some shorter content. I just try to piece this together as we go. I've shown a lot of the process here. If you guys have any questions when I post this, please leave it in a comment, ask me. I've done quite a few of these cars, This one isn't the most extensive I've done, but I mean, really, if you get into that trunk floor and frame rails and stuff, yeah, that's when you really have to start watching out how you dissect stuff. With just the quarters and all this, you basically fit it back, and then you got to make the gaps. Ah, put a thorn in it, Jimmy. Get her welded up, son. We're a lap down. Come on, buddy. Sticky. Yeah. All right, well, we got her piece patched up in the back there. It's not real pretty. It's coated with galvanizing spray. I did grind it off, and then I made this little piece to fit in to connect the roof back to this pinch weld here. All right, something that can make your job a lot easier. One of these flanging / hole punch tools, because it just goes through, and I have to be careful or I put too many holes in it, because it's just too much fun. Yeah, you can see the pieces that come out and the holes it makes. You still need to open them up a little bit. This is supposed to be, I think, a 5.5 millimeter tool. It is cool because it'll fit in a lot of these flanges, so you don't have to drill a bunch of holes there. We just go around and pop holes in it where we need them. All right, favorite time. It's aerosol paint corrosion protection on here. Yep, just on the back side, because you'll never be able to get at that again with a spray anything once it's on there. We'll put cavity wax in it when it's all said and done, but this right here, it's the initial part of it all. Man, I don't know if you can see the texture of that stuff in there, but yeah, she thick. You have a lot of wire wheel nastiness going on. Try to save that for the very end of the day, though.
They're licking your butt, licking your butt, licking everything on there.
I believe I left you guys in a cloud of dust. Still got all of it on the floor here. Actually, this is a new bunch of dust because I cleaned up a bunch more, and I put the cold galvanizing stuff on all of our flanges and everything so that we can get that wheelhouse mounted up on here. This was the holdup. Like these first gen Novas, Camaros, they're really, the shocks are outboard, and it's hard to get a big tire under these cars. So one of the mods is people will put a cross member in and throw them some shock mounts in there. And that was already done, but it had these weird little cutouts in the floor. So yeah, here it is. And I mean, that's just loosely screwed in. I'll pound flanges, get stuff fitting tighter, and weld this puppy in here, and I don't think it'll be a bad look. And then you have full access underneath to get to your bolts for your shocks and all that. So yeah, I just figured I should fix that before I close this trunk up and weld this quarter on, because it's a lot easier to reach in there now than it is when when you gotta reach over and crawl inside or whatever. So, yep, it's almost lunchtime. I'm gonna try to get this thing tacked in before I walk out of here for lunch. This stuff will all be dry. This afternoon's project, wheelhouse, fit the quarter. All right, wheelhouse is up in here. I just got one clamp on it. Set the quarter on it, take it loose, fit the quarter, then clamp it down and tack weld it, pull the quarter back off, and then finish weld. That's easiest way I've found. Got this little piece here all cut into the trunk. I think it turned out pretty good for as quick as we did it and everything. They're precarious to get it to slide on. Tail light first. Set it up on the bin. Get it started going in the door jamb, and then you got to fight this little hook right here. Yeah. So you got to fight this little piece right here and get this over it and over the drip rail at the same time. Yeah, once you get that, I mean, everything else just kind of falls in place. Whew, it's got to come down a lot, but it'll all happen. Well, for the first time the quarter's on the car, I don't think it's too bad. This quarter's a little bit more dinged up than the other side though. I don't have a screw or a clamp on the quarter at this point, but I mean already you got some kind of a gap. It's in too far down at the bottom, which isn't too big a problem to bring it out. We're fitting inside of the drip rail. I got this stuff around here and it looks like our heights are correct, but the quarter is shifted in too much. You can see the flange doesn't even come close to lining up on the window frame there. And this piece truthfully is supposed to be on top of the quarter panels, so I may need to go ahead and pull it out. Yeah, everybody likes to look at a trunk gap. You know, the lines aren't bad on it till you get back here to the taillight panel. All right, so taillight panel's out. Had to pull it out. This has still got to be finished ground, so we're doing that. I did put this little panel below the back glass on top of the quarter. That makes the rain gutters line up a whole lot better. Yeah, I came in, I put just a couple of tack welds in this wheelhouse just so it would hold it in place where it is, because the quarter panel's kind of centered up. The issue I'm having on this side is I've got a big gap down here. A million times on and off the car. These things are a pain. Up here it's tough. Cleaned all this up, wiped down with, yeah, that was a white rag. But I